largest class of the semester, and a really exciting project with the city of Peoria to help them with some strategic planning around sustainability. I'm going to pass it over to Candice Carr Kelman with the School of Sustainability. Candice, can you introduce that class for us? Thank you.
Absolutely. I am happy to be here. My name is Candice Carr Kelman. I'm a faculty in the School of Sustainability. And this semester, I've been teaching SOS 321, which is Policy and Governance for Sustainability. And this is a required course for our sustainability policy track, and it's also an elective for many students in our majors and in other majors. And this course covers both theory and practice of sustainability policy at local, state, and national and international levels. And that's already a lot. And then this semester, we really took it up a notch by partnering with Project Cities and the city of Peoria to look at Peoria's sustainability plan. And so our students have had this opportunity to really experience working in the real world of sustainability planning with our partners in Peoria. We have had 35 excellent students this semester, and they've really shown a lot of determination and resilience in this switch to remote learning. They've had all the normal course assignment material and the normal reading load of the course, plus this great group report that they've written and will present today, both in this presentation and then summarized in the poster presentation that follows. And there will be a chance for more question and answers at that point. And so I want to say kudos to all of you students in 321 for all the hard work, and many thanks to Steve and Project Cities, and to Victoria and Daniel, especially in Peoria, for the excellent feedback and guidance throughout this process. And I'm really glad that we were able to get in a visit of our midterm presentations and visit the city. So we were able to do that before all this happened, and then we've had the rest of the semester for the final analysis. So I would like to now turn it over to our students, starting off with our introduction team. So I will hand it over to you.
Awesome. Alrighty, guys, so I think I'm going to start it off here. My name is Nicholas Lito, and I'll be joined by my three colleagues, Hannah Callahan, Rebecca Pinot, and Jewel Egan. We are the introduction, executive summary, and conclusion group. So before we jump into everything, this is just a brief overview of what you're going to be seeing throughout this presentation. I'm going to start it off with a little bit of introduction and purpose, followed by the executive summary, methods, and some of the findings and analysis we did throughout our project. And we'll open it up to a Q&A and some conclusion. So the purpose of Peoria's sustainability plan was to alter the social and economic management structures in which that they'd previously written their plan in the early 2010s. The idea was that we still wanted to keep the citizens in mind and protect the natural resources that already find themselves in Peoria without damaging any of the existing community, and promoting energy efficient design, smart water management principles, stakeholder engagement, and really just upping the city's livability level in terms of sustainability standpoint.
My name's Hannah. I'm going to be talking a little bit about some background information. So Peoria has been tackling the topic of sustainability since 2009, and that's when their first sustainability plan was published. This marked the first major step that Peoria took towards the sustainable future. The city hired a sustainability manager to revise their goals, and they had also established a green team in the city government. Peoria started multiple sustainability programs, including classes, a newsletter, and local superheroes. In 2017, Peoria published the Sustainability Plan 2.0, and originally the city had a sustainability manager in the city manager's office, and now they have a sustainability coordinator in the water department.
Hi, sorry about that. My name is Jewel. Just to talk about a few of the key strengths for Peoria sustainability plans. They do have the Sustainable U public outreach and education program to get residents on board, as well as the Sustain and Gain magazine. They're also doing a few certifications like Energy Star certifications for the staff and several of those municipal facilities, as well as the LEED Gold certified sports complex, park and ride, and other strong management practices. Reclaiming water and water usage is a big part of the sustainability plan. As we can see, the reclaimed water usage is about 3% of total water usage, which is about 1% higher than the state average, as well as, like we were saying with the park and ride, just promotion of alternative forms of transportation, the ride share, as well as the expansion of municipal use of solar and other livability goals.
Okay, so some recommendations that we had for Peoria include adding metrics for measuring progress towards their goals, setting realistic dates to achieve those goals, adding infographics and illustrations that illustrate data and timelines for the future, adding information regarding greenhouse gas emissions and other energy and climate related indicators, increasing awareness of water recycling and rebate programs, creating solar transition guide, developing an educational youth program centered around sustainability to be implemented in schools. Finding a neutral third-party evaluation system would also be helpful. Increase inclusivity and placemaking within the community. Developing sustainable purchasing guidelines for city governments. And we also think it's important to revise the Peoria Code, section 22-10-E, which addresses penalties for improper recycling and increasing awareness for water rebate programs.
All right, so Sarah and I will be going over the methods briefly. So on the next slide, at the beginning of the semester, we started out with an introduction presentation into Peoria and Project Cities. After that, we divided our team into the chapters based on their sustainability plan. The main focus of this first half was on the environmental scan, which was there was about 23 cities, both inside Arizona and around the United States. And all of the groups looked at them for information and ideas that would be most important for Peoria. Going into February, we had the Project Cities kickoff event where we got to meet with Peoria and hear from them directly, which gave us a better idea for the rest of the semester. And at the end of February, we had our mid-semester presentations with the main point of asking any questions we still had and getting feedback on our progress. For the second half, we finished our draft for Peoria, which we'll be sending in later. And we also had to restructure the report. And now we are also doing our final presentation. So we can move on to going into the actual groups and going into the deeper findings.
All right, well, community building, whoever's on, take it away.
So our group, we looked at 4 cities: Providence, Rhode Island, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Baltimore, Maryland, and Scottsdale, Arizona. To start us off with Providence, they have a climate justice plan that seeks to equitably bring people in the decision-making process. They have a spectrum of community engagement that focuses on communication between both the city and community leaders. Part of this includes a resource allocation metric, which focuses on the percentage of the community who lead the decision-making process. We also looked at Santa Fe, New Mexico. They have a triple bottom line approach to sustainability that looks at the economy, ecological resilience, and quality of life. So one of the things under their economy is looking at sustainability-related employment. As of now, they do not have any specific data that they're using to track this, but it is a goal. And now Najona has additional information about Santa Fe.
Yes, so in 2015, as part of Santa Fe's sustainability initiative, they created a growth management plan, which was basically something like a strategy that was created in order to help facilitate and monitor the sustainable development of the different communities in Santa Fe. And it was based around placemaking and the unique land and the communities within Santa Fe. It is a strategy that was really created to help support the growth of Santa Fe and establish policies that include preservation of sensitive lands, growth management area designations, and zoning regulations. It is very community-based. It involved different stakeholders in its development, such as tribal leaders, the county development review committee, residents, and etc.
Okay, so jumping into Baltimore, Maryland. So their sustainability plan has 5 overarching features for community building. So those are neighbors, environmental literacy, healthy school environments, waste and recycling, and urban agriculture. So each of these features have individualized goals and measurements for success. And a cool thing about Baltimore is that residents see the city as one big community, and neighborhoods are often referred to as villages. So all of their goals are realistic and achievable. Instead of making promises they can't keep, Baltimore reels in their goals to fit the community and its needs. Throughout the plan, Baltimore also refers to the sustainable development goals. And unlike Peoria, they do not have livability initiatives. So I'm going to hand it over to Jake for Scottsdale.
Last but not least is Scottsdale. They have a key part of their community section of their sustainability plan is the Getting Arizona Involved in Neighborhoods GAIN initiative. This involves community cleanups and volunteering to try to make Scottsdale one big community instead of a bunch of smaller ones. They also use key performance indicators, KPIs, as seen on the right side of the screen of the PowerPoint. And lastly, they use community strategic plans and collaboration efforts combined with proactive zoning.
All right, so for our analysis and recommendations, our social aspect of community building is something that we wanted to focus on for the city itself. So we believe that incorporating the livability initiatives throughout the plan, similar to how Baltimore includes the SDGs in their plan, would be very beneficial to the city of Peoria, as well as including resident relations between community members. So what Baltimore has is they're creating a permit-free day so that people can set up shops and set up little markets to meet each other and to introduce themselves. And lastly, resident involvement. So Baltimore includes surveys, but we think that with the current situation that virtual surveys would be the most beneficial and that it is imperative to involve the community in decision-making processes.
So we also think that it is important to look at social resilience within Peoria. This is specifically looking at how strong and prepared they are for both current and future events that could make the community more vulnerable. One of these aspects includes looking at the impacts of extreme heat on the community. We also believe that developing a community engagement similar to Providence that fits the context of Peoria could also be helpful to assess community engagement.
In addition, we believe that focus on placemaking, such as what Santa Fe has done with their growth management plan, would help to further build the community and also build on the livability initiatives that Peoria already has, one of which is placemaking. So by building on this, Peoria can really benefit in their communities and in their initiative for sustainable development.
And lastly, Peoria's image, the past, present, and future. So we really want to emphasize the notion of complete neighborhoods and as well as committed to silver LEED standards.
Cool, thanks. So in this project, we looked at the recycling and waste management section of the sustainability plan, and we worked to improve it and provide suggestions for their practices. We had an awesome time. In the process, we partnered with the city sustainability coordinator and employees in the solid waste division as well. So little overview. Yeah, next slide, perfect. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the overview of Peoria's standing recycling and waste management plan. We'll provide some comparisons to other cities that we looked at, and then we'll give some recommendations for what we see for the future for the city. So a couple of their objectives were to increase recycling throughout the community, decrease the overall amount of waste to be disposed in landfills, and develop procurement guidelines for sustainable purchasing practices. So in this, we looked, yeah, that's perfect right there. So we looked at these goals and implemented them into our research about the city and the recommendations that we provided to them. I'll let Laura take it from here for the comparisons.
All right, so for the city comparisons, the top two are going to be kind of more residential based. So the city of Flagstaff has a pay-as-you-throw structure, which is just like a single base rate for everyone recycling, and the EPA found that 44% of that creates 44% of waste reduction go into landfills. Another program is the SMART program, which the city of Tempe uses. And with the rate of home ownership in Tempe versus Peoria, there is a 72% rate of home ownership in Peoria, where there's a 40% rate of home ownership in Tempe. So having a program like that in Peoria we could really see a lot of waste being diverted and from going to the landfills. And then throughout a lot of the city comparisons, we saw quite a bit of green procurement guidelines as far as what the cities are purchasing. So in Portland, we saw there's a reduction of 990 metric tons of CO2 equivalent from them only using the EPAT and the Gold Star certified technology, as well as there's quite strong procurement guidelines in the city of San Francisco as well. And in the city of Boulder, they have had a zero waste ordinance in effect since 2005. And since they started having commercial businesses making recycling mandatory, they have seen a dramatic increase in their rate of diversion. And then in the city of Austin, as well as Tempe, they have materials recovery and making them into like marketable commodities. I'm so sorry. And in Tempe, they have had almost 5.5 million pounds of materials diverted. And in Austin, they have seen $465,000 in value creation from making these into marketable commodities. So the city of Peoria could really benefit from giving these products a longer lifespan and really creating a lot less waste diverted. Thank you. Now over to Brett.
All right, so after we reviewed Peoria's current practices in waste and recycling and conducted our own city comparison analysis, our team generated 5 recommendations that we think would really help Peoria reach their sustainable action goals. So starting with the first one, we would like to see clear indication by the city's procurement team on what they deem to be a green purchase. This could either be expressed through eco labels such as Energy Star or EP like Portland has, or like Sacramento, where they have more just general environmental attributes such as biodegradability. We would also like to see the city illustrate more of the positive impacts that they incur from green purchasing through the use of graphs and charts, and similar with the recycling data that they've already been collecting. And then as mentioned earlier in the executive summary, we would like the city to look at, again, section 22-10-E of their city code, where a resident's recycling privileges are revoked or suspended after 3 accounts of misplacement of materials in their recycling bin. We just don't think this is the appropriate disciplinary action to take if the city wants to increase recycling throughout the community. And then next, we would like to see the city start promoting their free composting bin service, where at the request of a resident, they can have a damaged or old recycling or trash bin converted into a composting bin free of charge. And then we think the city would also benefit if they were to provide more reasons for residents to start composting who don't have necessarily a personal use for composting, like they don't garden or anything like that. So they can do this by either starting to collect the compost from residents and just set it aside for any future compost-based city projects, or provide outlets for donating their compost to sources like local composting facilities or local farmers.
Hello, my name is Isaiah, and I'm with my group who we are doing water resources. We split ours up into two sections, with the first being a comparison of other cities and then recommendations that we have for Peoria. For the first city, we looked at Tempe, Arizona, which uses their wastewater for cooling water at the Palo Verde nuclear power plant. They also use reclaimed water for groundwater recharge, recharging Tempe Town Lake, irrigation, and industrial use. And they have future plans to use their reclaimed water for underground storage at the Agua Fria linear groundwater. They also want to use it for credit. The next city we looked at was Phoenix, Arizona, which plans to, by the year of 2050, to have 100 years of clean water to use for their city. They also launched a conservation program called Water Use It Wisely, which tries to convince residents to use to conserve water. 89% of their wastewater is also recycled for uses such as irrigation and, just like Tempe, cooling water at the Palo Verde nuclear power plant. They also use the Tierras Rias wetlands as another treatment city where they treated wastewater is flown through the wasteland to undergo a final treatment through the wetlands. They are also currently building a facility to generate renewable natural gas from their wastewater treatment. The third city they did was the last city we did was Las Vegas, Nevada, where one interesting thing about that city was they had a comprehensive drought and recovery plan, which one of the key focuses they had was on different forms of droughts. And they also, for their reclaimed water, they used it for irrigation of their golf course, parks, and recharging Lake Mead in Nevada.
So we also compared the cities to San Francisco, Los Angeles, Irvine, and Flagstaff. So in San Francisco, the reclaimed water was used for groundwater replenishment, aquatic and habitat recreation for enhancement, as well as offers REAPs for installing rainwater and harvesting rainwater harvesting tanks and Go Solar SF rebates. In LA, the plans have 100% of their water to be recycled by 2035, and only 1% of their current total water supplies comes from direct reclaimed water. Their reclaimed water is also used for industrial uses, landscape irrigation, car washes, and groundwater replenishment, just like in San Francisco. They also have water rebates regarding water-based irrigation controllers and soil moisture sensor systems. In Irvine, they meet 25% of their service area water demands with reclaimed water, and they use recycled water for multiple purposes, including groundwater recharge, landscape irrigation, and water storage. They also pioneered purple piping for carrying recycled water, and they don't currently offer any water rebates. In Flagstaff, the main thing is that they offer rebates on high shower heads and high efficiency sink aerators. So from here, we can go on to the recommendations that we've made based on these findings of these other cities. So to start out with water conservation, we thought it would be good for the city of Peoria to incorporate a few more definitive key performance indicators, or KPIs. We thought that this would be a great way to make sure that the community knows exactly what their impact is. So a part of this would be creating an interactive water saving simulation for the website. This way they can actively track exactly where Peoria's water is going, what it's being used for. And I know that Peoria mentioned that they might be moving away from water rebates, but Peoria can also move the rebates from mail-in to handling them online in the meantime before they phase them out, as well as utilizing and incorporating the most profitable rebates available in Arizona. As far as reclaimed water goes, the use of wastewater to restore wildlife habitat in and around Arizona is something that we think they could really start doing, as well as doing some things that are similar to Tempe or Phoenix, like creating artificial urban lakes like Tempe Town Lake, or using the reclaimed water for wetlands and wastewater treatment. Peoria could also launch an educational program on what reclaimed water is and what benefits it can bring. The benefits that it can bring to the city. And Paulina can continue on the recommendations here.
And then some other of the recommendations that we also wanted to go ahead and share are for water accessibility. We thought that it was important that by including a more detailed analysis of their water rebate program in the Sustainability Action Plan 2.0, the city of Peoria can make it more accessible to the public. And also they could go ahead and create a section for the water rebate program in their official newsletter, social media posting, for example. And something that I also wanted to share would be the drought response and recovery. It would be, for example, like add an enforcement mechanism that is able to encourage the city of Peoria to conserve and enact restrictions in case of extreme water scarcity, as well as highlight how equitable water distribution is maintained in the city during a drought and account for predicted rise in temperatures.
Thank you, Water Team. Education and Outreach. I am turning it over to you, Celeste and Nathan.
Yeah, Nathan here. Hello, everybody. Nathan Hendrickson, and I'm with.
Hi, this is Celeste.
All right, we can go to the next slide, Candice. Thank you. So today we're going to talk about the overall goal that we kind of had the view of going into reviewing Peoria's sustainability plan, which was a progressive education and outreach program that will help residents and employees of Peoria understand their role in sustainability of the city. And then we'll go into strengths and opportunities that Peoria has, compare it to some cities such as Tempe, Santa Fe, Las Vegas, and New York City, and then conclude it. All right, so one of the main questions, how is Peoria currently implementing sustainability education and outreach? They're doing that through awareness of sustainability. And they've been really effective at creating this awareness through programs like rewarding and recognizing the community in their sustainability efforts. Also through community partnerships with programs like the Theater Works and International Sustainability Film Festival. And then Peoria Sustain and Gain magazine is obviously amazing. And along with the Sustainable U program, both of those have done wonders in providing information to the community.
So what opportunities does Peoria have to advance and promote education and outreach? So there's always opportunities to improve current programs with the younger demographic, and it's important to get them more involved and engaged with the community in sustainable thinking. And this also leads into a more holistic and interconnected educational platform. So this could be like expanding the sustainable university to more members of the community, more specifically the younger demographic. So the future generations of Peoria will adopt more sustainable thinking, and also progress and insights on community needs. So we need to find more ways to connect with the public by using maybe different types of surveying and also getting them out to all members of the community. And lastly, including KPIs to create more measurable outcomes. So a great city comparison would be the city of Tempe, because they do have a comprehensive climate action plan that is very useful for creating actionable goals. And this also serves as a guideline for achieving enormous cost-effective solutions and has like an overarching sustainability goal for the future residents of Tempe. And next slide.
So we all know that water conservation is, of course, the forefront of sustainability challenges in Arizona. So when it comes to this issue, I think it's best to look to our neighbors to see what they're doing. So in Tempe, I think another group talked about this. They have the Water Smart software that's available for residents. It allows them to track their water usage and also educates them on ways to save water and to save money. And in Santa Fe, they've begun the process of integrating sustainability education into their overall curriculum. So in their plan, they discuss how they're ensuring that their students are going to be given access to locally relevant sustainability related curriculum, and as well as experimental learning opportunities. So creating these resources that are importantly relevant to the student's environment, it's crucial in ensuring that they're interested in the content and also understanding the relevance to them. Students are able to learn through hands-on experimental learning grounded in sustainability-based curriculum. And I think by creating this space for students to explore sustainability issues, it'll ensure that they're engaged in the community for their lifetime.
So also another city is Las Vegas, which is a strong model for sustainability action and outreach that could be valuable for City of Peoria. One of their school districts is currently partnered with Green School Alliance, an organization that provides programming, tools, and resources to schools and teachers with the goal of educating students K through 12 about sustainability. And then also New York City has an effective sustainability outreach through community surveying. They also have a comprehensive sustainability action plan with an effective outreach strategy via online surveying to its citizens through technology. And that's it.
Okay, sustainable transportation.
Hello, our group analyzed the transportation chapter. My name is Ethan.
I'm Leela.
I'm Emily.
I'm Tara.
And I'm Carlos.
Today, we'll be talking about a quick recap of the goals, what other cities do for their transportation plans, and discuss how Peoria can use it for their advantage. Peoria's plan has 5 goals. The first is to encourage more efficient ways of transportation.
The second is to enhance the efficiency of their roadways.
The third is to improve the fuel efficiency of city vehicles through the use of alternative fuel technologies.
And the fourth is to provide incentives for residents to utilize sustainable transportation options.
The 5th goal is focused on environmentally responsible construction and infrastructure. So for our environmental scan, these are some of the cities we looked at. They're similar to Peoria in geographic location, population size, and climate. After looking at the city plans, we determined that these topics would be most relevant for Peoria and transportation. Starting with the first one, cities like Boulder and Albuquerque have programs that encourage green transportation through incentivizing rewards and benefits. For placemaking, cities like Las Vegas and Oklahoma City have more of a focus on making walkable cities and cities that people want to live and work at. And the strongest plans that we analyzed were Los Angeles and Houston. One of the reasons is because they have a lot of graphics and colors, like the image from Los Angeles' plan right there. Also, they have target deadlines. So for every single goal and sub-goal, they have the specific year they want to reach that goal by. And they also include their implementation strategies, like who they're going to partner with and what programs they'll be using. Finally, for most of the cities that we analyzed, there's a conversation on greenhouse gas emissions in their plan.
Greenhouse gas emission reduction plans are a key factor in transportation plans throughout the country. By setting goals and dates for the reduction, Peoria can lead in the sustainability movement.
And as the city of Peoria expands throughout the upcoming decades, we think it's important to recognize how the implementation of placemaking strategies when designing city infrastructure will directly influence the transportation sector by making it more sustainable. We think the creation of a livelier, more people-centric atmosphere through infrastructure will not only attract economic opportunities such as small and big business operations, it will also encourage individuals to spend more time outside and utilize alternative transportation options.
Transit-oriented design is another planning strategy that we looked at with our comparison cities, and we deemed it useful for all of them because it enhanced the walkability, public transit around the area that's targeted for TOD, and it spurred job growth as well. This form of development will promote the transfer from car travel to other modes and will support placemaking as well.
Many cities that we reviewed have implemented pricing strategies for parking in their downtown areas. Albuquerque has a green sticker program, for example, which is a parking program that gives residents with qualifying vehicles access to highly valued parking for a discounted annual price. Not only would a program of this kind cross off some of Peoria's established goals, but parking pricing is widely considered one of the single most effective strategies to divert travel behavior away from single occupancy vehicles. There are a multitude of ways Peoria can devise a pricing strategy that would fit into the city's context, but all of the specific strategies we could determine as important, parking pricing seems to have the highest likelihood of creating behavior change on an individual level.
Folks, this is your 2-minute warning. 2-minute warning.
In conclusion, to recap what we just discussed, we recommend that the city of Peoria focus on reducing greenhouse gas emissions through the implementation of transit-oriented development, placemaking, and parking pricing, especially when constructing the new and improved sustainability action plan. We also recommend that the city establish a task force for addressing specific sustainability-related transportation issues. We also suggest that the city address sustainable transportation issues head-on with an ardent attitude. And lastly, we encourage creativity in the ways Peoria engages stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, we are the energy group. My name is Modesta, and I'll be joined by my group members, Max and Roz. And we wanted to start off by highlighting the goal that Peoria had in their municipal facilities section, which was public buildings and facilities need to incorporate sustainable features to optimize their usefulness and public benefit. Peoria is committed to developing standards and practices to make city buildings more efficient. And we'll begin our plan with analysis of sustainability plans. Then we'll go over to energy efficiency in buildings, and then an overview of water facilities and renewable energy and technology. So I'll hand it over to Max to start us off with.
Awesome. Next slide, please. So we're going to go over some of the cities that we looked at. So I'm not going to go into all of them due to time, but the ones I want to highlight are Pima County. So they highlighted something unique, which is to improve employee energy conservation practices, a pretty nice and easy goal. Only one that, that's the only plan that we saw that one in, nice to implement. They also focused on building water treatment facilities and their vehicle fleet for their emissions. That just highlights that Peoria is on the right track for targeting those goals. I highlight the Baltimore plan just due to their formatting. They go through each section, highlighting the big picture, relating it to their own city, and then going into the specific goals that they want to touch on and any actions they can commit to. And then I liked LA's plan due to they maintain clear goals with consuming deadlines. So they aim to run on 100% renewable energy by 2045, but also have goals before that they can hit along the way, like 50% by 2025. And next slide, please.
And first, we wanted to highlight the strengths that Peoria had in their plan. And the first success that Peoria had was in fighting to lead standards by earning the distinction of having their Seattle Mariners and San Diego Padres clubhouses become LEED Gold certified. And the next that Peoria had in their plan was the requirement, the LEED Silver certification or higher for new and remodeled city building construction. And we also wanted to add in recommendations. We wanted to add in recommendations that Tempe is doing since they are a neighboring city, and these are things that are able to do in Arizona. And the first recommendation was a sustainability platform, which is a website that the city provides on energy efficiency programs. And the next was energy resilience hubs, which are areas in the city that run and store solar energy and that will keep residents safe during heat and storm-related emergencies.
I just want to make a note really quick, folks, that we have 4 minutes till the hard stop end, and we want to leave a little time for the next team. So let's move quickly, okay?
All right, moving quickly. So the next section that we were looking into was water facilities, and we noted that Peoria was already utilizing renewable technologies such as solar panels to offset their emissions and their energy usage and costs. And we really like this part of their plan, and we wanted them to continue doing that for the rest of their facilities.
Awesome. So next slide, please. So we understand that the City of Peoria doesn't have very much control over their energy mix due to utilities, but we wanted to look at what other cities are doing. So as was mentioned before, we have resilient energy hubs, which has stored solar that can be dispatched in an emergency. Baltimore wants to own their own plan, so they're looking to expand solar job training programs to hire from those programs, and they're targeting that at unemployed and underemployed. And then DC is looking past just energy into renewable technology as well, which I have it on the slide instead of under facilities. They're looking into wastewater heat biogas used to heat and cool spaces directly. And recommendations.
So just some final recapping. We wanted to reorganize the municipal facilities under energy, since we thought it was a better title and incorporates more of what they wanted to do.
I'm gonna have to move on to the next team, folks. So
Moving on. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Nice work.
Okay, hi everybody. So I'm Satara and I'm part of management practices. Today I'm here with Abel, Corrine, and Joey. First, we're going to talk a little bit about current management practices within Peoria, other cities sustainability management practices that we researched, Peoria's strengths and recommendations.
Some of the aspects that we looked at that we analyzed about Peoria were specifically like a few of the key parts, which were sustainability coordinator, the policies that they currently had in the general plan, and the transparent collaboration that they provide between their stakeholders.
So these are the 6 cities that we compare Peoria to, one of which is Santa Fe, New Mexico, who has planning division practices similar to the strategic plan of Peoria and a dedicated planning division. There's also Salt Lake City, Utah, which has its own sustainability department, as well as 2 sub-departments, waste and energy. Then there's Honolulu, Hawaii, which has a focus on economic growth through diverse industries. And Las Vegas, Nevada is another, which has a sustainability plan in 2009, specifically for resource conservation. Scottsdale, Arizona is one that we focused on here in Arizona that has an environmental quality advisory board and policy proposals with an environmental focus. And then Los Angeles, California is another one we focused on, which has a sustainability city plan, as well as a general manager and sustainability officers who work directly with the mayor.
So strengths of Peoria. So Peoria's sustainability manager ensures plans will run efficiently. The organization strategic plan had a heavy amount of details on how they wanted to implement each step. Peoria is looking to engage with stakeholders so they have more input within sustainability planning within the city. And also Peoria is a multi-municipal government with numerous departments, and this is a tool allowing them to work together and promote sustainability.
So the main recommendation that I wanted to focus on was the third-party evaluation. Peoria used to use STAR community rating, but STAR has now merged with LEAD. And so that might not be a resource that Peoria has anymore for evaluations, but definitely our main recommendation for Peoria is continuing on with the third-party evaluation process. The other 3 were just incorporating more details, increasing transparency with their stakeholders, and then developing key performance indicators. And thank you so much.
Great, thank you everyone so much. I know you can't hear it, but we are all applauding for you. That was fantastic. So at this point, I'd love to turn it over to Victoria and Daniel. And just to get some kind of initial feedback for you, we'll hold any questions you may have just because we're about to go right into Q&A session. But what are your thoughts?
Great job overall, everyone. I know what a big task this is, especially when you dive into those individual sections. So you guys did a really good job trying to take all that information and kind of summarize it down for us. So we appreciate all of your efforts in that.
Yeah, you guys did a fantastic job. I'm really impressed. I think you gave us a lot of good ideas and a lot of good things to really evaluate. That's going to help us in our next plan. So congratulations. I think you did great.